Hello everyone, I am Dr. Rakhi Gupta and welcome to my module on managing human resource or human resource management. Before I go ahead with the next topic, I would just try to recapitalize as to what we did in the last one. In my last lecture, we discussed things related with collective bargaining. So we know that collective bargaining is one of the methods by which we can actually prevent disputes, and we discussed the various aspects of collective bargaining, that what is the meaning of collective bargaining, or what are issues which are involved, or what is the process of collective bargaining, and who are the parties in the collective bargaining. So the topic that I am going to talk about today is something again which is very pertinent, as I keep telling you that every topic is important. So the topic that I am going to talk about today is all related with labor turnover and absenteeism. In any organization, irrespective of the size of the organization, this is a very prominent problem that the managers or the CEOs or the factory owners or the industrial unit people they face. So basically when we talk about labor turnover is nothing but is the rate at which new people are joining the organization and the old people are leaving the organization. In my previous lectures also I have talked number of times that one of the aim of the management is to retain or to apply retention strategies for the people who are very efficient and very productive in their work profile. So naturally if people they will be leaving the organization, it is going to give a big dent in the productivity, the performance and the profitability of the organization. So let's go and check out more concepts of labor turnover. So my dear friends, in HR we can call labor turnover as a kind of a metric that actually measures how many employees have left the company within a specified time period, and generally it is a rate which is expressed in the form of annual rate or monthly rate or as a percentage. And one of the most important part is that a low labor turn rate is always desirable or is always ideal, because it shows that the company is performing well and the employees are engaged and satisfied. So ideally I just told you that labor turnover is nothing but the rate at which the people are joining and leaving the organization in a specific time period, and a high labor turnover rate is something which is not at all desirable and it is quite unfavorable for the organization stability. And it seems that if there is a high labor turnover rate, people are not happy and satisfied and leaving the company. That means the company is not at all performing well, and there is some kind of problem in the organizational structure or maybe the culture or anything related with the management also. So there's a kind of a dent in the case of organizational stability. So there are different formulas by which we can actually find out that how many people are leaving and or going, and this labor turnover it can actually be expressed in months or in annual. We'll just talk about them also. For example, you can see here also the number of employees leaving in a period upon the average number of employees in that same period into 100, and it's a percentage. For example, if a company has an average of 100 employees and 10 employees leave during a given period, then the rate would be 10%. Now, what is more important is that what are the causes as to why people actually leave the organization. So, if anyone who is happy and satisfied will always be willing to stay with the organization, because the person also knows that in case if they keep on switching from one job to another, there would be certain issues related with adaptability and there would be certain issues related with their movement, so on and so forth. So, ideally it is desirable that people they should not leave the organization. So, but there can be certain causes. So, there can be some kind of avoidable and unavoidable causes, or we can say that why people actually depart from a particular organization over a definite time period. So, let us go and check out the different avoidable and voidable causes. So, let us take up the avoidable causes. The first one is the lower wages. So, actually we all know that money is a big motivating factor for everyone. So, in the previous lecture also when we were talking about the collective bargaining, one of the major issues of collective bargaining issues related with the payment or the compensation or the wages and salary issues. So, if people are paid lower wages and they feel that they are not compensated as they should have been, so that would definitely bring a discontent, and then people will be looking out for the new opportunities elsewhere. So that is one of the avoidable causes. That means if management wants these causes, they can be looked upon and the corrective action can be taken. The second one is the unsympathetic attitude of the management. So, we know that management plays a very crucial role. Of course, the management is the one who is giving you the employment and the salary and the other benefit. So, at any point of time, if there is an attitude of unsympathetic, people are not taking into cognizance the need and desires of the workers, of the management, then they may be very much dissatisfied with everyone, or at times they can be kind of lack of confidence level, or or the loyalty level, the commitment level will definitely go down. Or we can in other words say that the management is very, very unsupportive, or the kind of leadership that we have, it is more of autocratic style of leadership. So in such situation, these management people, they find that okay, people are just working here, they have to work, and they are just not concerned about their needs, desires or anything else. So unsympathetic attitude of the management is one of the big causes of the labor turnover. And we all know that any kind of labor turnover is harmful, because it has got very much adverse effect on the employees also, on the company also, and we are looking forward for solutions also. So unsympathetic attitude is one of the causes. So as a management, the aim should be that the frequency of labor turnover, or the rate or the frequency with which the employees they are leaving their job, it should be less. But in case the management is very bad, they are not taking into cognizance, or they are giving lot of excessive work to the workers, or there is some kind of insufficient recognition is there, or maybe at times some poor company cultures, they are not giving the benefits, incentives, or maybe they are not providing with the adequate growth opportunities. So all these things, they will fall under the unsympathetic attitude of the workers. Maybe anything, of course, we have discussed related with the insufficient salary, or maybe people are dissatisfied, jobs dissatisfaction is there, management is not taking the personal issues of the workers, the grievances are not being solved, or they are being redressed. All those things, they will be part of the unsympathetic attitude of the management. Then lack of training or transportation. So we all know that training is one of the best ways to increase your KSA, knowledge, skills and abilities and attitude. So if management fails to do that, then also it's a big problem. And of course, all the competent people will definitely like to join the organization where they get a chance to grow and develop. Then lack of incentives, unhealthy relation with trade unions. Lack of incentives, again, people are working hard, so naturally they feel that they should be compensated in that manner. So that happens to be one of the crucial aspects of any successful company. So if incentive systems, they are bad, or that the company is not providing with the incentive system, or even if this incentive systems they are being provided, they are not up to the expectation of the management. So definitely at that point of time, it will lead the organization to higher labor turnover rates. Then poor interpersonal relationship. So naturally things related with the personal issues, anything related with the salary, working condition, or all the factors which are responsible related with the job dissatisfaction. For example, maybe there is no clarity, there is no proper supervision, or maybe the tools and machinery, they are not provided at the right time, no personal protection kits they are being provided. The management is very, very callous about the health of the workers, about the culture, they don't wish to provide the proper infrastructure, so on and so forth, will definitely make the people dissatisfied. Or most important is then definitely that inability of the management to give timely promotions or transfers, or maybe there are certain biasness on the part of the management. So all these things, they will result in the poor interpersonal relationship, and eventually what will happen, the most competent, productive and the efficient people will leave the organization. And definitely these people, they will be more proactively be looking forward for a change in the job. And the next is the lack of retirement benefits. So anybody who has been working in the organization for a longer period of time would definitely expect some kind of retirement benefits, but in case if the management fails to do that, then definitely it's one of the cause of labor turnover. Then no job security, bad working condition. So at times, supposing no job security, if there's a fear factor in the minds of the workers all the time that okay, their job is not secure, their job can be taken away at any point of time, or maybe the working conditions are not conducive, or the conducive environment is not being provided to them in terms of supportive management, or maybe the supervisors or the managers, or maybe the colleagues, or maybe the subordinates, they are not good enough, there is a lot of indiscipline in the company, or maybe the culture is not conducive for growth opportunities, then it can definitely have a very, very negative impact on the employees. So naturally when people, they do not operate in a very positive culture, they become more stressed out, unhappy with their jobs. So this is not at all ideal for the company, because it will result in the increase in the labor turnover, and as a result what will happen, my dear friends, that it may become increasingly expensive and difficult to hire the top talents if they develop a very, very poor reputation. So definitely reputation of the company also also lies in the hands of the workers also, and it is always desirable that the company may proactively work to improve their culture in terms of everything and make sure that it is providing a very helping hand to the employees. Then unavoidable causes, it can be related with the marriage, death, accident, maternity. They are all self-explanatory if anyone is getting married or if there is death. So death is something inevitable, and at any point of time if anyone dies, so naturally the vacancy falls vacant, or anyone goes on the maternity leaves, or maybe there is high stress, or VRS. VRS is basically voluntary retirement scheme. So if people are resorting to the voluntary retirement scheme, they are taking the scheme, so naturally the vacancy will fall vacant, or as a result there is a kind of a termination as a result of the disciplinary action. We have already done a chapter on discipline. So one of the biggest penalties that can be imposed is all related with the termination or illness. So because of the illness, if people leave the organization, so naturally these are the factors which are unavoidable, but unavoidable factors are the ones which are actually in the hands of the management, and if management feels, then the management can take better steps, and then it can also retain the top talent of the organization. So naturally there are certain effects of labor turnover. There are some positive and the adverse effects. For example, it will result in the improvement in the organizational culture. So we know one of the biggest positive impact that labor turnover has, that it improves the organizational culture. So if supposing we know my dear friends, that labor turnover, it's always desirable that the lower rate of turnover should be there. So because if the lower labor turnover rate is there, so definitely it will help the company to save money also, and above all the top talent of the industry or of the organization would be retained, and that's what people want, because once we have the top talented people in the organization, they will definitely help us in boosting the organizational efficiency or effectiveness, or they will be contributing to the success of the organization on the whole. So the most desirable situation is that the most productive and the efficient people, they should be retained in the organization, and we are able to make a difference between the two. So if the rate of labor turnover is less, so definitely it means the organizational culture of the company is good. It speaks volumes about the company, and of course a company can also earn a good reputation outside, and reputation is very essential, no matter whether it is related to individuals or it is related to the organizations. So a lower labor turnover will definitely help in boosting the overall efficiency of the organization. Then the second one is related with the more talented personnel. So new hires can be more efficient, knowledgeable, sharp and active than the existing workforce. Now here it says that there can be certain advantages and disadvantages. One has to understand that what are the most important advantages. For example, anyone who's new or who's very young, so naturally these young people, they will be coming with their fresh innovative ideas. They will be more creative, and they will be more knowledgeable. They may not be holding that much of experience, but kind of they are always abreast with the technology. They know what is happening in the industry. So definitely once we have these kind of new hires, we can also ensure that the productivity of the organization will also go up, but again it may not be necessary. So we know that more talented personnel can enter the organization if we wish. And then less expensive resource. So with constant hikes and promotion, the existing workers cost more in comparison to the inexpensive trainees. Now my dear friend, this is the biggest problem happening these days. We know that we have been continuously talking about the training programs, training and development programs that should be always be initiated by the management. Training will definitely help people to increase their knowledge, skills, abilities and improve their attitude towards the work also. But what happens is when the company is shelling out that much money on the training of the people, and if supposing if people, they are showing signs of improvement and they are contributing to the success of the organization, that is perfectly fine. But now what is happening is that there are trainees, management trainees, who are very cost effective. So maybe the kind of stipend that is being paid by them, by the company to these people is much less than the salaries that are being paid to the high professionals. So if the new hires, they are almost the same, or they are giving us the better work as compared to the old employees. So naturally the company would prefer having those kind of management trainees, and these management trainees, they can always have the permanent kind of job in the training place also. Then one of the another positive is all infusion of the fresh ideas. So naturally they are more innovative thoughts. As I told you, the creativity level of these people is much higher. They come in with the fresh blood, with fresh ideas, and of course they are a little more knowledgeable and educated because they are more abreast with the latest technology. So they know how to do the things, or what are the effective ways of doing the things, or how well they can handle the new mechanized or automated machinery. So if it is that the case, then definitely it is quite beneficial for organization. Then better skills and qualifications. So it's like any new people who are coming to the organization, they come whether they are coming for the short term or whether they are coming for the long term, no matter whatever ways they are coming. So naturally they are better skilled. As I told you, that they are the people who are more puffed with knowledge. They are the people who have more skills at their disposal. They believe in enriching themselves every now and then. So they keep up the attitude of taking up more complex task or go for the different kind of trainings. So naturally what will happen is that the company will be getting new inputs from such people, and maybe they come out with their, as I told you earlier also, they may be quite innovative, they may be quite creative, they know how to handle things, or they may know the better ways of doing a particular task. But however, we have to keep in mind that that's what I am trying to tell you again, but the rate of labor turnover should always be less, because it's a kind of a negative attribute in the organization, and it definitely can be one of the biggest hindrances towards the progress of any company. So if supposing if people are happy, they will be retained. If people are not happy, they will leave the idea. So in case if they are leaving the idea and the fresh people are coming, so these are the benefits that we are talking about. So this is the positive impact of the high turnover. So but one of the biggest advantages of a labor turnover is that the low performing employees who are unable to contribute to the overall success of the company, they may leave the company. So the departure of such employees can actually enhance the average performance, which can lead to a more productive employment for business growth. So but again, we have to keep in mind, we have to ensure that the top talented people, they are not leaving the organization, but the low performing people, they are leaving the organization. So there should not be any kind of imbalance in the company. So definitely the long term performance of the company should always be considered when we are talking about the labor turnover. So apart from that, there are certain adverse effects also of the labor turnover. Definitely the one is most important, that it will cause the company very highly. There can be some kind of decreased motivation related with the people. When people or employees are unhappy because of any high turnover rate in the organization, they feel or they have that kind of feeling of job insecurity. The first adverse effects is all related with the hampering of the productivity. So when we talk about the productivity, if you know that in my book also I have told you that productivity is nothing but is just the combination of E into E, that is the efficiency and the effectiveness. How effectively one is able to utilize the resources that are available in the organization, and the efficiency is the less loss or the damage. So if people, they keep on coming and keep leaving the organization, then again the company has to begin right from the scratch. So the company has to go for the recruitment, the company has to go for the selection, go for the training programs, and then it's like a very dicey situation that it's not sure, the company is also not sure that the new people who will be coming, whether will they be that kind of high talented people, the ones who actually left the organization. So the company's productivity is at big stake if the rate of turnover is very high. So ideally it is always desirable that there should be low labor turnover rate. But of course, as I told you, there can be some positive impacts also, that we can get fresh people in the organization, but there is a big suspense lying over them. The fresh people who will be coming, whether they will be productive enough to take the organization to the next level or no. Then it decreases the morale, as I told you that the co-workers feel demotivated when they notice that the existing employee is moving for a better opportunity. So now every individual, they want to excel and they want to grow. So definitely what happens is that because people are leaving the organization, so at times they also feel that okay, they can also go and get a better opportunity in terms of better salary and benefits, and they can also increase the standard of their living. So at times there is also a possibility that the organizations may notice the increased absenteeism, and then they may smell something fishy, that why people are leaving. So one of the best ways is that the grievances of the people, they should be redressed at the earliest, and all the best possible efforts should be made by the management to provide the maximum satisfaction to the workforce, whether it is in terms of salary or benefits or incentives or working condition or whatsoever, so that the people, they are retained in the organization, and very few employees who are low performers, they only leave the company. Then high production costs. So naturally what happens is that high production costs, the training part of the new worker increases the expense at every now and then. So when we have got high production costs, then definitely the profits of the company will go down. So this is not at all desirable. So because when we have a high staff turnover rate, definitely the hiring cost maybe in the long term or the short term increases, and if the short term or long term the cost is getting increased, naturally the production is getting a hit. So naturally we do not want that kind of behavior coming up from the employees. Then training expense. So wages paid to the trainee new hire is again a big expense for the company, and of course we are not sure that whether the new ones who are coming, the company cannot actually rely on them, because they may be less experienced employees who are not in a better position to handle more critical projects or situation in the company, and then of course it can cost the company heavily in the long run. Then replacement cost, naturally recruitment of new staff, again the company has to begin right from the square one, that is the company has to go for the recruitment, advertise a job, and then do the entire part of the selection, provide training to the people, so on and so forth. So that's a very, very tedious and a cumbersome task. And of course if the company keeps doing this, then definitely they will be far away from reaching their pre-objective of the company, and definitely the company may also get affected, or the company's business or the management plans, they can be delayed, and then the organization's growth can get hampered. So there are different types of labor turnovers, as you can see: voluntary, involuntary, functional, and dysfunctional. So voluntary labor turnover. So when we talk about the voluntary turnover, it's just the on their own will that the person comes out and they say that I want to leave the organization, as we just discussed about the unavoidable causes, for example, or avoidable causes. So anybody who's ill, or he or she is not able to perform better, or maybe the maternity, or maybe the death, or maybe the transfer, or maybe the marriage. So these may be the reasons which can actually tell people that okay, they need to leave the organization, and maybe they join some another one. So here the person actually resigns from the job. Then involuntary is like in the case of involuntary labor turnover, the worker is abolished from the duties by the management only. So why do you think that management will abolish the duties of the management of the employee? The reason is very simple, as we just discussed, that one of the biggest unavoidable causes is, or maybe the avoidable causes, anyway you can talk about. For example, if the management is dissatisfied with the performance of the person, or the person has been penalized as an act of indiscipline, anything. So at that point, whether the employee is willing to leave the organization or no, there is no say of the person. If the notice has come from the management, then the person has to leave the organization. So that is a kind of an involuntary labor turnover. That means the worker may not like to leave the organization, but management would like him or her to leave the organization. Then functional is like, by saying functional we mean to improve the organizational efficiency. The underperforming people, they are asked to exit the organization, so that the fresh people, they can enter into the organization. Then the dysfunctional is the labor turnover takes place when highly efficient and skilled personnel leave the job. Now this is very important, that when highly personal or top talent of the company is being churned out of the organization, that's a big concern for the management, because the management will always like to retain the top talent and they want the low performers to leave the organization. So of course, and it is a very risky situation whether they will be getting that kind of talented people in the next round of maybe recruitment or selection. So again, that happens to be the dysfunctional, that when most talented people leave the organization. Then there can be some strategies to reduce the labor turnover. For example, it is very essential that the interpersonal relationship has to get improved, and the topic that we discussed, collective bargaining, that is one of the ways by which the interpersonal relationship can get improved. Then the salary policies, they have to be visited, like for example unavoidable or avoidable causes rather, where the management, if they take the cognizance of the causes, then naturally if they take the cognizance of the same, the most talented people, they can be retained in the company. Then improvise the HR policy. So HR policy is all related to the hiring, promotion, or maybe the appraisal part. So all different policies pertaining to the different functions of HR, they need to be looked upon again by the management. Improving the working conditions. So one of the bone of contention or one of the biggest issue of the workers is all related with the working condition, the kind of working environment they are asked to work with. So they have to be considered by the management. So if the working conditions, they are conducive for the workers, they can perform better, and once they can perform better, then naturally the productivity of the people can go up. Then speedy redressal process should be initiated by the management to solve the problems at the earliest. There should be a fair and impartial treatment that should be given by the management to the workers, and opportunities for growth and development should always be provided by the management. And this is the formula which is there. If the monthly labor turnover has to be calculated, then employees who left the job during the month or upon the average number of employees for the month into 100. And in case if you are looking at the annual labor turnover, then the formula is employees who left the during the year upon the average number of employees for the year into 100. So now this was all about the labor turnover, my dear friends. So one of the most important part is that lower labor turnover rate is expected. Now let's have a look at the another very important topic which talks about the absenteeism. Absenteeism is basically the stoppage of the work, or when people, they are not reporting to the work. So what are the features of an absenteeism? It is lowest on the payday. When the salaries have to be paid, people will definitely turn up. It is high among the people who are below 25 and above 40, and definitely people who are in the night shift, they are more frequently absent as compared to the ones in the morning shift, and women, they are more absent as compared to the men, and of course unionized organization, they have a higher rate of absenteeism. Now, whether it is labor turnover or whether it is absenteeism, more or less, both of them, they are not at all desirable. So why do you think that people are absent from their work? Firstly, they are sick. So this is a very normal cause, that if they are unable to perform, they will not come to the task, or if they are allotted any kind of night shifts, or if there is an absence of transportation facility, supposing that the work of place is very far away from their hometown, and they feel that they will not be able to commute, and if the transportation facilities are not being provided by the management, then that can be a cause of absenteeism. Then long lengthy working hours, nature of the work, very tough work, very tough working condition, and maybe the people are involved in bad habits, lot of alcoholism, they are drinking too much, so then naturally they are in that kind of that situation that they cannot report to the work, or anything related with the maladjustment in the working condition, or they are not able to adapt themselves to the environment. Social obligations, people, they go for marriages, they go for festivals, etc. And generally people in the industry, they are unskilled or semi-skilled, so the festivals and marriages, they extend for a longer period of time. Then poor welfare facilities are being provided by the management, which makes the people unhappy, so hence they do not want to report to work. Then indebtedness, since they are poor and illiterate, they have high liability to make the payments, so they feel that okay, they are looking for some other jobs, and or they may be doing some other double shifts somewhere or the other to compensate that. Then of course, lower level of wages, we know that this is one of the most important point, that people are not at all happy, which makes the people dissatisfied, which definitely brings in the lack of interest. And then accidents, they are very, very important part. Because of the accident, they become sick, they become ill, they become inefficient. So absolutely, if anybody is ill or mentally not fit enough or to work, so definitely they will not report to work. So now there can be different types of absenteeism also, and there can be certain ways. For example, authorized absenteeism, unauthorized, willful, and anything which is caused by the circumstances. So one is authorized absenteeism. When we talk about the authorized absenteeism, it's again related with the holidays which are actually given by the company. It can be in the form of casual leaves, paid leaves, medical leaves, earned leaves, or maybe any gazetted holiday or restricted holiday. So if people, they are not reporting to work on such days, it is known as the authorized absenteeism. Then unauthorized, unplanned absenteeism is like people were not sure whether they will go to the work or no. So it's just because of any emergency or anything unplanned. So anything kind of any exigency coming in between. So that kind of absenteeism is related to unplanned absenteeism. And then willful is purposely. They themselves feel, no, tomorrow I'm not going for work. I will not go for the work. They will not go for the work. So like when there is a will from their own that they will be absent the next day, that is a kind of a willful absenteeism. And anything absenteeism caused by circumstances beyond control, it can be related with any kind of mishappenings which can happen at any point of time, anything related with accident, anything related with long illness, so on and so forth. Then we know that what are the different ways to control absenteeism, because absenteeism rate again should be very, very low in the organization, because it will be giving a big hit on the productivity. So it says what are the ways to control it, of course, to increase the morale. So how we can increase the morale of the team or the group? By giving them recognition, appreciation, and being grateful to them or showing gratitude. Then creating an environment that fosters healthy dialogue, connection, collaboration, and feedback. The management should take cognizance of it, that there is proper flow of communication in the organization, people are happy and satisfied, their grievances are settled, there is a lot of employee engagement, workers' participation, lot of training programs happening, a lot of growth is there, and people are willing to come there on their own to the organization. Then keeping communication open, again it depends upon the kind of management we have, supposing it all depends upon the leadership. So if the leadership is of more of autocratic, my friends, you know, so definitely boss is always right. So in that case we cannot expect any kind of open communication. So for that we need to have that kind of democratic style of leadership. Then reducing stress, the company should always find out the ways by which these people, they can de-stress themselves. It can be in the form of any activities, any form of club activities, or maybe small organization, so that they are able to maintain their work-life balance. Maybe some occasional, some festivities, they can be celebrated together. Then taking periodical feedback is important to identify their grievances, and we know that as soon as the grievance is identified, it should be nipped in the bud. And of course, focusing on the work-life balance basically means that people have to be happy and satisfied. The kind of salary that they draw, the kind of condition in which they work, the kind of work they are supposed to do, the kind of maybe the culture in which they are working, all those things, they will definitely help people in maintaining that kind of work-life balance. Then rewarding and recognizing is very essential, that any kind of work which is being done or any kind of contribution that has been made by the employee or the worker should be identified. So we know that a little pat on the back also can motivate the person to a great extent, and these reward and recognition can be in the form of the monetary benefits also. And of course, providing with the better working condition, which is of paramount importance to make the people happy and satisfied. So if people are happy and satisfied, then definitely there will be no willful absenteeism. So that's all I have for you all today. I spoke about things related with labor turnover and absenteeism. Both of them, they have that kind of negative aspect. So it's always desirable that the company should always have a low rate of labor turnover and of course low rate of absenteeism. So by this time you know that what is the meaning of labor turnover or what is the meaning of absenteeism, what are the various causes of both of them, and what are the ways that can be adopted to reduce the rate of labor turnover and rate of absenteeism. So thank you so much for watching this video, my dear friends. I'll catch up with you in the next one with a new topic.